Okay, guys, let's talk about the New Year characters, okay? So, you probably already know they got their new 6-star version. New Year Yui, New Year Hiyori, and New Year Rei all got their new 6-star version. And we also, of course, in the gacha, we have New Year Kokoro and New Year Kiaru. And I'll be talking about like their reliability or versatility or overall importance in the game in the current meta, I guess. Sure, why not? I'm not really into the meta, but you know, let's talk about how good they actually are. And spoiler alert, the only really important character right now, no, it's not Yui. I know it's Yui on the background right now, but that's just because I like her very much. But the probably the most important character right now is New Year Hiyori. And I'll explain why in just a little bit. But let's start with New Year Yui now, shall we? Since she is one of the girls that got the 6-star version, so let's go over her right now. So, her skill, her burst, I mean, well, it's in Japanese, but don't worry about it, I do know what it does. It gives a barrier that absorbs, keyword absorbs, 13,000 damage. It gives HP regen of 4.6k. It's regen over time, of course. And this is the weird part, reduces 90% of her attack for 18 seconds, of course. It's the usual duration for burst buffs and debuffs and whatnot. This will affect her healing capabilities, so she will heal less when she has this debuff on herself, but really the healing is only on her burst, and it's not really that important, I feel. So don't really worry too much about it. In any case, she also has a damage cut of 5% for physical and magical damage to everybody in the team. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this barrier also covers everybody in the team. It's not like an area around her or anything like that. And of course, she also gives an attack speed buff to everybody in the team, which is actually really nice. This is a really good addition to her burst. She didn't have this before. So basically, with her 6-star, she got the attack speed buff, and she got the damage cut. And I think, I'm not sure about this one, but I think she also got a really good barrier. That's basically it. Also, I would like to mention, as I said before, this barrier is an absorption. There we go. English, by the way. It's an absorption barrier. So, apparently, this barrier does actually stack with barriers from Amis, for example, because Amis's barriers are not an absorption barrier, they block damage, they don't absorb damage, which is actually a really nice detail. Her second skill is just an attack debuff for a physical and magical attack, and also reduces magical defense, and it also reduces the TP generation rate. This, by the way, is a typo. This is actually wrong, this is from the English patch, this isn't right, but it's supposed to be around 30 TP boost. It doesn't remove TP, just lower the TP fill rate. It's a little bit different. So it will make the bosses TP less often, basically. You know, it's a nice skill. So of course, very good to let your team survive for longer, basically. And their second skill is completely pointless. It only increases some attack. It's not even that much to everybody in the team. It's incredibly useless. She really needs a new unique equipment. I'm not gonna lie. So, how good is she? She is very good, but unfortunately, Ames exists, and they share the same element. So yeah, Yui New Year 6-star is unfortunately quite pointless to have, just because Ames exists. And most people will have Ames just because people, when they start the game, they will have the prefest banner, and most often than not, they will choose Amis even if they pity. So yeah, Yui isn't really that crazy. Amis, of course, doesn't have the attack speed, but she just gives way more attack anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. They do work very well together, but the situations where they can actually be used together aren't really that often found, I guess. Yui does have a lot of defense, so in case you could actually use her in the front, she would actually be very nice to have. And in those cases you could use them together, Yui and Amis, I mean. But it's kind of rare to actually find the situations. But who knows, maybe in the next clan battle, they'll come up with some kind of situation, Cygames, I mean, will come up with some kind of situation to actually make her viable. And everybody will be kind of salty for not having her, so yeah, you know, it's usually like that. The Cygames usually just rigs clan battles for the newer characters, so you know. But in any case, she is not really that amazing. She is amazing, but she's not very useful, just because of Amis. And that's basically it. Let's go look at Hiyori now, shall we? My Hiyori isn't 6-star, but I do know what she does. She also doesn't really have her unique equipment, but don't worry about it. I do know what she does, so it's fine. I'll even show on screen her skills. Actually, they should be translated, so it should be fine. Even her unique equipment, yeah, it should be translated. But it doesn't really matter because what we do want to know is her burst skill, of course, as usual. I'll be showing it on screen just because it's not actually translated. Not translated. It's not actually in game because I don't have her at 6-star. But in any case, her 6-star buff, it basically doesn't really change her burst. It doesn't really add any new effects, but what it does do is pretty much double all of these values. So she will deal double the damage, so 400,000 around 400,000. The defense reduction is not actually double, it's actually more. If I remember correctly, it's at around 180 defense reduction. And she will also reduce the TP boost by even more. I think it's around 40. I might be wrong, but of course I will be showing it on screen, just like I mentioned before. So what does this mean? She will start dealing a lot of damage now. It's actually incredible how much damage she can actually deal. And of course, besides dealing damage, she's kind of like a sub DPS, of course, but besides dealing a lot of damage, not as much as a main DPS like Christina, but she will also be bringing really, really good utility to the team in the form of a physical defense reduction by quite a bit. And of course, the TP reduction is also very, very nice to have. So, you know, that way your team will actually survive for longer, of course. And this is why Hiyori is the one who got the lucky draw, I guess, from the new 6-star characters. She's a very, very good sub DPS with some very, very good utility on her. Her other skills are basically just some damage skills. She boosts own attack and I don't know, targets allies attack. Oh great, she increases the attack of everybody or whatever and gives some critical rates. Amazing. You know, some more support and some damage, of course. Her burst is actually really, really strong right now. If you are planning on pulling for anyone right now, do consider Hiyori. If you don't really care about like wife or whatever and you only care about meta, Hiyori is definitely going to be very, very important later on, because now, goddamn, she is amazing. A lot of good damage, very, very good utility. Now let's talk about the other characters in the gacha. Let's start with Kokoro here. She is a tank, and to be honest, she's kind of garbage. I mean, she's not really garbage, but these days she's not really that needed anymore. Basically, of course, she's a tank. She has her burst that heals herself and heals everybody in the team, and also gives them some attack buffs. It's not really that amazing. She has a taunt and deploys a barrier on herself. The taunt is nice to have. It's some good utility, of course, in case you want to make the boss fights not target like the character with the highest attack or whatever, and that way they'll target Kokoro instead. So it's quite nice to have someone with a taunt, but it's not really good enough, to be honest. And of course, another really good thing about her is the fact that she gives a huge ass critical damage buff of 30%. That's actually really, really good. And I mean, of course, she also gives some critical and some attack, which is kind of low, the attack, the amount of attack she gives. But the critical damage, goddamn, it's huge. That's probably why she doesn't really give that much attack on her other skills. But in any case, she is still kinda eh. So don't really worry about having her or getting her. She's not that useful these days, trust me. And besides, even if you want like a tank in the light element, we already have some really good ones, like Nozomi 6-star, for example. Heck, Shizurino over here are an amazing tank for archer characters. I think there's another one. Oh, right. Overload Pecorin is also an amazing tank. So yeah, you really don't need Kokoro. Kokoro really isn't that useful these days, unfortunately. She was very good in the past, but these days she's not really that great. And now let's talk about New Year Kiaru. Probably the one everyone was probably wondering if she is worth getting. Long story short, no, she's not. She's probably the worst character right now. She is very bad. I mean, I wouldn't say very bad, but right now we have Princess Kiaru, which are way better, and Anne and Greya are also way better. If you guys don't know, she does have this funny mechanic with her burst, where the harder she hits, the higher the magic attack she gets from her burst is. So so she will get stronger and stronger as time goes on if you can actually loop her burst reliably with a lot of TP generation and make the boss like get a lot of defense reduced, or your allies give her Kiaru a lot of attack buffs and criticals and whatnot. But that's kind of hard these days, especially with the element. Ideally, you wouldn't want to have mixed elements with New Year Kiaru because you do want her to deal as much damage as possible, right? But if you do that, the Dark element doesn't really have that many characters to actually help Kiaru with the TP regeneration and the buffs. I mean, the buffs and debuffs are there, but the TP generation just isn't there, you know? Really, for TP generation, we only have Eris over here, and there's also Jita. Where is she? Jita, there she is. There's not really any other good character for TP generation while also giving a lot of buffs and debuffs. So, I mean, there's Luna, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't really work very well with her these days. So she unfortunately, she is completely garbage. If you have Princess Kiaru, which is also Dark Element, you are already set. Princess Kiaru is an amazing character, deals a lot of freaking damage, and also gets a lot of TP generation for herself. She just keeps on spamming and spamming. Do be sure though to get her unique equipment, because without it, she is not that amazing. That's basically it for the new 6 stars. I guess I should also talk about REI, I guess. Excuse my 2-star REI. I've never really cared too much about her. But basically, REI is a PvP character who has a burst where she stuns everybody. And now, besides stunning everybody, I know it's not here, but besides stunning everybody, she deals more damage, she reduces the physical defense of everybody, and she also gets a barrier for herself. She is a tank, so the barrier is actually really nice. And this makes her a very good PvP character, even better than she was. She was already quite good, but now she is actually pretty amazing. I don't really have much experience with her in PvP, but she is quite nice now. I'm pretty sure with this burst, there's some kind of comp where she bursts, reduces everybody's defense, and then you use some kind of AoE to just sweep everybody, dealing a lot of damage and pretty much maybe killing or almost killing everybody. Maybe with Ninon, for example. She is a really strong PvP character with a really strong AoE attack that hits not everybody, but a big area in front of her. So that probably could be a combo. I'm not sure. I'm not very experienced with PvP comps and whatnot, but that could be a combo. So yeah, that's basically it for the new 6 stars and for the New Year characters. I'm sure a lot of people were wondering if any of them are actually worth getting. And now maybe you do know if any of them are worth getting. Honestly, I went for YUI just because I like her so much. Like, go look at her. She's so pretty, man. She's so beautiful. In any case, I hope this was helpful for anyone, and I'll see you guys next time.